God.
And if you belong to Christ, who holds the power and the healing abilities, that same power and healing abilities belong to you too.
Whoa.
You too also have self-healing abilities and that same power that Christ brought you with. Isn't that nice? You should be clapping hands at that.
To make a change, because right away, they say, well, I got to change, right? I got to make this transformation in my life, right? Exactly how long it's going to take, because that could be a long process. That process can...
Marcus Hart Transform You Radio Show. The only radio show where you can make real results and start living in your purpose. Visit MarcusHartEnterprises.com. MarcusHartEnterprises.com.
Okay, hello, my people, and welcome back to another episode of Transform You Live with your host, Minister Dr. Marcus Hart. We are in for an awesome treat. It is Wisdom Wednesday. Yes, Wisdom Wednesday. And whenever it's Wisdom Wednesday, we always looking to offer you, you guessed it, some wisdom. And that way, we can continue to move forward, continue to make all the necessary restoration towards transformation that we need to do. Because that's what we're all about here. We're all about transforming lives, being able to offer all the awesome content needed to be able to digest it and just regurgitate it up, but leave it inside the mouth. I know that sounds kind of disgusting, but that's what we strive to do. We digest it, but we don't get rid of it. We let it savor in the mouth, and then we begin to walk in it, live in it, and feel it and be it. That's what it's all about here. So without further ado, let's get into what's going on. And from the looks of it, the only thing that I have to announce is that continue forward with the same announcement from the prior day. Just a reminder that this is the last show. We have real good guests on tonight, and then we got 2 more guests to follow. So make sure you stay tuned in. But this guest here is probably going to be my favorite one thus far, because she's going to be touching on and what she represents. First of all, she represents the whole movement towards just creating better communication between men and women. Boy, do we need that. We need more people who are just ambassadors and helping us be a better communicator in our relationships, because that's what life is all about. If you look around, we obviously are not alone. I know sometimes, you may, be in a crowd of people and you're like, oh, I need to get the heck out of here. But no, we need to be better communicators. We need to learn how to harness these relationships for the best. And boy, she's passionate about helping men and women communicate more effective. She also likes to get to the root of love, and helping them find that love so that they can, either gain it or, begin to just, if they already have something happening between, their partners, she just takes all the negative out of it and bring the positive into it. She's on a mission. She's a woman on a mission. So who am I talking about? I'm not about to hold her too long, because this is only a 30-minute segment here. So let's get on with it. Let's hear it for Kimi Avary, the relationship navigation specialist.
Oh, I am so happy to be here with you. Oh, my goodness. This is so exciting. All about love.
Definitely, yeah, and that's what we need more of. And, Kimi, we just appreciate you. It's definitely a blessing to have you on. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I know I said a mouthful. I probably jambled stuff a little bit. Help us understand who you are.
Okay. So I have spent my whole life studying love and spirituality and God. Like, that's just who I am. And I am 48 years old, was sort of promised this amazing dream for women that I could have it all when I grew up. I could have a great, amazing career, have the husband, have family, all the things that I wanted. And I it took me until I was 38 before I started learning about men. I dated and dated and dated and dated, and the relationships just fell apart over and over and over again. And I actually went to 2 weddings of men I was deeply in love with, and I watched them marry other women because I was their buddy, not the one they wanted to marry. And needless to say, I was super, super upset, right?
Yeah.
And then an ex-boyfriend actually gave me some information about a program called Celebrating Men, Satisfying Women, and this was 10 years ago, and I started studying about men from a masculine perspective. It's kind of like the heavens opened up. I mean, it changed everything for me. It made it possible for me to meet and marry and stay married to my husband. And,
right.
I bring this material to other people in personal and professional relationships now, and I love it. It's having the masculine perspective about how men are makes all the difference, because then I know how to be with them to bring out their best so that I feel like my needs are taken care of.
Definitely. And, Kimmy, this is just a topic here that I never get old, and we greatly appreciate you coming on. I too have suffered from failed relationships. So what is like the most common thing you quickly identify when you talk about relationship issues?
Well, it's interesting because the main problem that I see is that women, well, actually, I'll back up. Men and women are so different that we'd be better off if we actually spoke different languages, because then we wouldn't think we were communicating, right? Yeah. Women look at men typically as a hairy, misbehaving version of herself. And typically, men look at women as smaller, emotionally indulgent versions of themselves. Now, of course, it's not all across the board, not every man or every woman, but we've got these perspectives that are sort of skewed. And that's that is the elephant in the room that nobody's talking about.
Fascinating. So what it sounds like, we have these, different, perspectives and assumptions about each other. That would you say that these things are like environmentally shaped, or more to do with like how we're raised, or DNA thing? What is it exactly, Kimmy?
Well, there's a biological difference that when the women haven't had the right to vote for an entire 100 years yet, right? We're still working on it, and
okay.
In that process, we have fought long and hard to be equal, but
right.
Equality does not equal sameness. And somehow the message got distorted to think that we were supposed to be exactly the same. And we have tried to equalize things and make us the same, but the truth is our biology is different. We are hardwired differently as men and as women. For instance, as men, you're typically, your hardwiring is more towards single focus. Right. And when a woman's interacting with a man and he's watching a football game, for instance, and she's trying to have an important conversation, and then he doesn't remember because he was single focused. That means doing one thing at a time. But the woman's brain is more designed to have a multiple view of things, sort of a diffuse awareness. So we'll be doing our laundry and answering emails and feeding the family and doing a number of things not linked together. So men can do very complex things in service of the one result. And women do all these things, and we assume that he can pay attention while he's watching the ball game, and then we get our feelings hurt, and then we're angry, and then we set ourselves up into a downward spiral.
Absolutely. You're really educating me right now too. You're really sharing something about, man, that we really don't want to admit, but we would think we can do all things, but looking at it, you really have just hit some targets here and hit some soft spots. So how you begin? What is your process? What's the initial process you start when you sit down with clients and you begin to bridge these different gaps between the thoughts?
Well, so I've over the 10 years that I've been working with clients, what I've found is that they need the one-on-one coaching to unpack the hurts that have built up over time. So that's number one. They also need the education. So I've got a program called the Relationship Navigation System that they participate in as we're going through their coaching. And sometimes in their private coaching, it's about clearing up their past experience, because past hurts will permeate their relationship and just cause it to fester and eventually break up. And then once that is clean, and that can be past personal things. Like I had a client who was afraid to commit to marriage with his fiance, with this woman who loved dearly, because his stepsister, who he was very close to, had died tragically when they were 20, and he was 38. And he was afraid of moving forward because of that trauma. Once we cleaned that up, they got engaged, they had their first baby, or they got married, then they had their first baby, and their second baby's on the way right now. So it was a personal thing for him that was keeping him from being open to committing. So it's about working on the past stuff so that they can, and freeing and bookending and closing the past stuff. So it's not haunting you today. And then we work on getting and then once they're in the present moment, then we can work on how do you express what you need in the way that your partner can receive it well. And there's what I call, go on.
No, go ahead. I'll cut you off.
What I was going to say is the dirty little secret of relationships, I think, is that women have needs that we don't express clearly because we're complaining because we don't have it, but we're not being clear about it, even though we think we're being clear. So we have these needs, we think we're being clear about it, it's not being received on the end of our partner, and then we're upset without it, and we blame you for not giving it to us. So a big piece of what I work with is with women learning how to express what they need in the way that their partner can receive it, or their boss, or their father, or whomever. Because that clarity, oh my God, when you have a clear request from your partner, what's that like for you?
Well, I'll tell you one thing, when I was, involved, like whenever I did get a clear request, I feel like I was on the right path. I felt like, oh, okay, well, that's easy. Let's do it.
Yeah. I know a couple who, before I knew this material, these insights that I have now, before I had these, I looked at her and this is not very nice of me, but I called her the dominatrix. Because she was literally, she'd be like, I need you to do this and that, and she was so directive to him, and it kind of stung to hear how she treated him. But what was fascinating is he was so happy. Why? Because he could win with her, he knew exactly what she wanted, and when he provided the things that she was asking for, she was happy.
Right.
And now I look at her and I'm like, wow, she's got a skill about giving quality information to her man so that he gets to win. And that's one of the things I teach women to do.
Wow. I definitely got some referrals I can get over your way.
Yeah.
No shade to whoever's listening. But definitely, this is definitely something that's really missing, and I really feel like you're on to something here. Now, do you only work with women, or have you had any male clients in the past?
I work with men and women, and anybody.
Okay, and I did hear you say that you had a male client. So let me correct that. Now let's reword this question. Do you find that you receive more women than men, or is it kind of equal?
Well, here's the deal, Marcus. Men they get what I'm talking about. Immediately. They're like, oh, my God, a woman who gets me. And so if a man wants to save his relationship, I can't save his relationship unless his partner's on board.
Right.
And if a man is single and he comes through the relationship navigation system, I tell all my single guys, you can bring your new girlfriends, partners. You want to make sure she's on board with this material. And there's some background about why. Because if we're looking at, as women, if we're looking at you as you being men, as hairy, misbehaving versions of ourselves, we've started off with the wrong thinking because we're not even seeing you as a man. We're seeing you as a woman who's misbehaving, doing things we would never do, not doing things we would absolutely do, and then we're upset. And from that perspective, you will never be able to win. So with women, I take them all the way back to the inception point about seeing another person as an individual, seeing their partner as somebody unique and different. And there is a very big difference between a woman imagining she's in a man's shoes, still thinking from her own perspective about him. She's always going to get the answer wrong about what his motivation was or what his needs were or why he did something or what's important to him. So she needs the education so that she can get how different he is. And from that place, then we can begin to have a conversation. So if a man never comes to coaching and I'm only working with the women, she can save her relationship, typically. And I was surprised that happened. I mean, early on, I was like, working with a single woman, and as she's learning the skills, she's beginning to understand, this is a divorced woman, she's beginning to understand about men, and next thing I know, she and her partner have reconciled. And I was like, whoa, I totally didn't expect that. And wow. I've seen it so much that it is all about how she's showing up, giving him information clearly, and then she's happier because she's getting her needs met and satisfied in her relationship.
Wow, this is very powerful. Talk about some healing, and then speaking of which healing. You mentioned unpacking hurts right away, and and I just wonder. Before we got on air, we talked about you being ordained with Universal Light Church. Now, do you bring a lot of spirituality in the healing process, as you working with your clients?
I do. I do what I call, tell you, it's sort of a combination of neuro-linguistic programming, which is a set of tools that helps people to use their brains better. It helps me to bookend past hurts. It helps me to set people up to win. It by creating a future they want to live into, that kind of thing. And then, of course, everything I do is overlaid with spirituality. So when I talk about clearing the past, it's all about healing the past. And that sometimes takes a spiritual, a step into remembering that we're one with source energy and looking at that problem as a very small piece of our lives, right? And then when we're generating and creating what we want, which is my second phase of the coaching, which is all about being clear about what you truly desire and believing God's voice inside you that says you deserve greatness, and not believing the old stories, right? And then the third piece of my coaching is all about living your life in love, and that's all about living your life with God or the divine or whatever you want to call it. I have no preference there, as long as it's something that's bigger than yourself that you feel infused in everything you do.
I like it. I definitely like it. I love your style already. I'm just so in tune with this right now, and it's very fascinating. And this is, would you say that this kind of separates you from most relationship coaches? Just your style of, unpacking the hurts and repacking, and then educating too along the way.
Yeah, I think the piece I bring to it is this understanding of our differences between the masculine and feminine element. And there are lots of coaches who do great things. And if you don't understand the masculine and feminine dynamic, you're going to have problems. Like 2/3 of divorces are initiated by women who have things that they need that they don't know how to get, and they give up and they take themselves out of that relationship. That's a strikingly high number.
Yeah, it is. It's scary.
Yeah, and I remember being on one of my calls with I have live mentoring calls every week, and only guys had shown up on this particular week, and we were talking about commitment and how women sort of vote every day on a relationship. We're constantly in or out, in or out, in or out, like up and down. You do something sweet, oh, we love you. You do something that not so sweet, oh my God, he's a jerk, I've got to leave. Like we have this thing that goes on in our head that's constantly evaluating. And all the guys said, now that I know that's there, it's like it's really scary to him. But the flip side is that when she gets how committed you are, that like once a man says I do, or once he actually proposes, the switch in his heart is turned. He's in for life unless she does something incredibly terrible. I mean, it has to be really, 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 really bad for long enough for him to leave. Once he said, I want you to be my wife.
Now, that's something I'm curious about too. Why does it, take a proposal for most women to say, okay, yeah, this guy he really gets it. Why is it that way?
So why does it take what? Say that again.
A proposal for a woman to really totally feel like, okay, he wants me.
Well, I think that there's cultural pressure for women to get married, and there's a lot of cultural pressure for us to, like, they say, don't give the milk, or I can't remember what the saying is. We'll just forget that one. But if we give ourselves away to a man, then he's never going to want to get married and take care of us. There are women who have children out of wedlock because they got pregnant and then they didn't know how to make the relationship work and the guy left. So there's a lot of instinctual drive toward marriage being the safe place for women. And so there's a lot of pressure that way. But then also, when a man does commit, meaning the switch in his heart, like a woman cannot make that happen for him. It's like all of a sudden men will just know, like, this is my gal. This is the one I want to be with. Or can you relate to that?
Yeah, and I'm definitely tracking. in the back of my head too, I'm excuse me. I'm thinking about, just the way, the economy has like really kind of shifted this whole and put that spin on, a lot of people wanting to be married. Not only the economy, but just the way, society has changed.
Oh my God. You are so right, and you are so right. The statistics between 1999 and 2010 on suicide rates among women versus men, like 8.1% of the population for women and 27% for men.
Yeah.
And so what women have communities of people we can go talk to when we're down. Men not so much. And they're naturally concealing, which means they sort of keep their cards to their chest. They protect themselves. And when things are not going so well and the economy's bad and he's not sure how he can provide for his family, like I've actually heard of men, and this is, oh my God, this is so tragic. So I've heard of men who figure my life insurance policy is going to bring my family money, so I'll take my own life. Right?
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And so, yes, I mean, it is a huge problem, and I see it as the problem of it's sort of what I would call the dark side of feminism. And that's where we felt oppressed before, and we were, and we earned our way to equality. Okay, and we're still working on that. But in the process, we became a little bit like our oppressors, and we started putting down the men in our life. It's become sort of institutionalized emasculation. Yeah. So not only can men have a challenging time reaching out for help, they've been received ridicule and put down and a takedown of the American man, right? And that means that we've become like our oppressors. And now men are either shutting down completely, playing video games, tuning out completely, or some men have become enraged. And that leads to objectification of women. And we don't like being objectified, so we emasculate more and we disempower more. And the more we disempower, the more enraged there is. Can you see that cycle happening?
Yeah, I see it, and it's pretty clear, and it's definitely something to be concerned about for the future, men and women that's going to be, here, and you just wonder what's going to happen, But but thank God for people like you.
It is an incredibly, incredibly frightening downward spiral right now, and to me, I've seen it get worse and worse and worse. Different countries are having different levels of problem with it, but everybody wants partnerships, everybody wants relationships, and everybody's confused about how to make it work.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, like, my big mission in terms of relationships is to end emotional and physical violence between men and women, and so that we can shine our light, so we can get back to love, so that we can find that peace and joy and partnership. My business is called Conscious Couples Network because it's all about elevating us to that bigger love of the divine love that's within all of us.
Right.
That we can bring to our relationships. But you can be the most spiritual person in the world and still get tripped up about the masculine and feminine dynamic if you don't understand it. And once you're on board,
preaching to the choir right now.
Yeah, and once you're on,
I've seen it.
Yeah. I mean, this is once you're on board with that, then we can have the conversations about how to uplift everybody.
Absolutely. Wow, you're just right on the right right side here, and I just love this conversation. I can just interview you for a whole hour.
It's so much fun talking with you, and really hear, like when men get this. I mean, when they hear me talk, they're like, "Oh my God, this is so amazing!" Because I'm for creating true partnership, and I call it the new paradigm of partnership. It's like let's clean out the systems that aren't working, and create that partnership.
Yeah, this is so Adam and Eve, so it's what the world needs.
Yeah.
Adam and Eve in a new light, so I like it.
Yeah.
So with that said, what's the best way to get in contact with you, Kimi, if we wanted to get in contact with you?
Well, the best way would be to go to consciouscouplesnetwork.com, and I have a special report that it's for women specifically. It's conscious, CONSCIOUS, couplesnetwork.com/promo. Oh my God, this link is so darn long. Okay, 3-must-have-4-relationship-success-women. Okay, so let me fix this because it's going to change.
Okay.
I know you're editing this, right? We're just going to do KimiAvary.com. That's KIMI, A, V as in Victor, A as in Apple, RY.com/3-must-haves.
Okay. 3 months, so that's 3-must-have.
3-must-haves. MUST-haves. HAVES.
Okay. Perfect.
No dashes.
Can you just repeat it?
Yeah.
Can you just repeat it one more time for us?
Yeah, okay. KimiAvary.com/me. Let's do it one more time. KimiAvary.com/3-must-haves.
Okay.
And that's
awesome.
KimiAvary.com/3-must-haves with an F.
Fabulous. That's great. Phenomenal. We really appreciate you coming on board, and it's a question that I always ask. All of our guests that comes on, being that we are in election season, the presidential election is coming up in November.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? Yeah, there it is already. What are your thoughts or opinions about?
Oh, Marcus. Oh, my goodness. My favorite thing I've seen so far is asking me to choose which president from this pool of candidates is like asking me to pick which STD I want. Okay, now with that said, I think Trump's an absolute megalomaniac, crazy person. Mm-hmm. I think Bernie, I love a lot of things he stands for, and yet he's not. There are things I don't really like about what he stands for. I do believe in capitalism. I do believe in the free economy, and I also. There are things I love about Hillary, and there are things I'm concerned about Hillary. I think I'd say Hillary is probably my best choice. But I actually like the guy from Iowa. What's his name? Or Ohio?
Ohio, John Kasich?
Yeah, John Kasich. I kind of like his even temperament. He's like level-headed. I like.
Yeah, he's pretty calm. I like calmness. I like people who are just like, okay, whatever. I'm going to keep doing me. I like that about him. So.
Yeah. Who do you like?
And, Well, I'm leaning towards him, but like the way it's looking, though, I don't know if he's going to come out of this, battle and out of this love affair the media is having with Donald Trump right now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. Oh my goodness, it is,
yeah,
and the STD thing. I think it's funny, but it's really it's a little bit of how I feel. It's
hey,
like,
but it's
God.
true though. Yeah, it's true. You're definitely not. You're not putting a bad metaphor on it. So.
I mean, the choices are not great. Although maybe there will be some clarity that will come forward soon. One can hope, right?
Yes. Yeah, as we get closer, I'm praying for it, and we just got to trust in the divine on this.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Is there okay, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I want.
I totally just took Kippy out of the game.
Oh my goodness, that's fine. Yeah. Well, so you said
we have fun here, so.
Yes, and you said something that I just want to, we can keep praying on it. And the truth is, I trust God. I trust God to be doing the right thing for us. And our job is just to keep showing up. And really, you and I as ministers is all about enlivening, this is what I say, enlivening and inspiring spiritual warriors to live their dreams and shine their light to the world. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah,
and that's what you're doing with Transform You.
Yeah, and you're definitely doing it with ConsciousNetworkCouples.com, so definitely we appreciate you, Kimmy, so much. And I have a new sister now. So I got a new older sister.
I feel that way.
Older sister on. So I definitely be staying connected with you. So hope you don't get lost here in the sauce.
We won't. And I'm going to also, just for clarity, I'm going to send you the link that the report will be posted on, because that way you can make sure you've got it spelled right. I'll send that to you. KimiAvery.com/3must-haves. Make that easy.
Awesome. Is there any final words you have for the audience before I let you go?
Well, what I want is people to spend more time being curious about the opposite sex, the other people in their lives, and ask themselves if they really understand what's motivating that person and become curious instead of furious.
Nice. Beautiful.
Yeah.
I like it, Kimmy.
Yeah.
Well, you have heard it from Kimmy, and you have heard it from me as well. So this has been an awesome time, and folks, make sure you do get connected with Kimmy. She is definitely an awesome person, and she is also my new sister now. So make sure you do reach out to her, and once you come on board. Oh yeah, you're definitely a doll. I appreciate you so much. And so, folks, make sure you do get connected with us. Stay join in and lock with us. Although this is the last show date, we definitely want you to still be a part of the growing network of all over the world. We experts like Kimmy, as well as other many fabulous experts. Their friends are there. My friends are there. Kimmy's going to bring her friends, and then we all going to be friends and just exchange this powerful content that's being delivered, as well as just the love and positive vibes in general, so that we can begin to move forward in our lives and make all the necessary transformation we need. So that's Transform, the letter U, broadcast.com. It's totally free to sign up. There's nothing too much to sign over, not even your life. We just ask that you just bring an empty mind and an empty spirit so we can fill it up for you. So with that said, stay tuned in. We had in 20 more minutes, we'll be switching over to YouTube live stream to meet with Richard our next guest on the next segment. So you may or may not be able to hear us through the radio stream. You may have to switch over to YouTube Live to catch us there, because we will be doing a face-to-face with Richard. So make sure you are there. Once again, we thank you guys a lot. We thank Kimi a lot. Many blessings, love, and peace to each and every one of you guys. Until next time, which will be